All right, this is Mr. Wyrick. I'm going to be going over the 2.3 notes, the day one stuff for today, the 2nd of September. So the very first thing in the notes is we have 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and we're going to do the distance formula. So you take x2, you subtract x1, then you square that. You take y2, you subtract y1, you square that, and once you have squared both of those, you add them together and then take the square root, and that whole thing there is the distance formula. I will say, if you square this, you end up with the distance squared. So it's this distance from here to here, which would be something like this, squared, and then this from here to here would be something like this here, and you have that squared, and then if you square to take away the square root, it squares this other side, so you have the third one squared. So really, this is like a derivative of the Pythagorean theorem. So I typically only use the Pythagorean theorem. I don't worry about trying to use the distance formula, at least in my head. So if we're looking at something like this, again, you can use the distance formula if you like to have a formula. You can type that into Desmos and sit there and alter the numbers and whatever. I just like to think of something like this. If I make this into a triangle, from -2 over to 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. And then from -3 up to 3, that's another 6 units. So 6 units squared and 6 units squared, that's 36 squared and 36 squared. So it's going to be 72 when you add those. Sorry, 6 squared is 36, 6 squared is 36. So that's going to be 72. So this is going to be the square root of 72, which is going to be 8 and some change. Okay. If we look at this, it says Indira and Latoya are going to run from the southwest corner of the park to the northeast corner. Each will take a different route. Indira decides to run through the park on a straight path. Latoya decides to run along the edge of the park. A scale drawing of the park is shown here. Each unit represents 10 yards. So what's going on? Well, Indira is going in a straight line, so hers is going to be quicker. So then we come to the next one. It's the same thing. It says find the distance between these 2 points. So my distance from 2 to 10, that's 8. My distance from 1 to 7, that's 6. So I have 8 squared and 6 squared. 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36. 64 and 36 makes 100, and the square root of 100 is just 10. So this is actually 10 units along here, which would be, if we go back to the problem situation, that would be 100 yards, where this was 60 and 80 yards, so 140. So Latoya ran 40 more yards than Indira did. Today, your assignment is going to be in Delta Math. Let me see, student data, view assignments. Let's take a look at the one for today. Now, this is a 2-part set of notes. So this is a 2-part Delta Math. We're doing coordinate distance as a decimal. So again, find the distance between the 2 points from 5 to -3, from -8 to -1, round it to the nearest tenth. So I'm just going to use the Delta Math calculator here. 5 to -3, that's 8. So I go 8, and then I can just hit this button here for squared. And then I need to add to that from -8 to -1, that's going to be 7. So 8 squared plus 7 squared is 113. So then I go the square root of 113, and it's right there, 10.63, which is going to round to 10.6. Okay, so that's that one. Go away here, little calculator, for now. Then coordinate distance with the Pythagorean theorem. This one just asks you to draw in a triangle so that you get a little bit more practice at what it was that we were doing. And then it says, okay, now you can answer the questions. And it asks you for leg 1. That could be either one. From 3 to -1, that's going to be 4. And then on number 2, from -1 to 6, that's going to be 7. And then, yeah, round to the nearest tenth. So again, I'm going to pull up my calculator here because that's 16 and 49. Let's see, 16 plus 49. Yeah, that's 65. So the square root of 65 is going to be 8.06. So rounded to the nearest tenth, I'm going to call that 8.1. And there's that. And then I put one more section in here for you to do, just to retread what we were doing last week. We're using the compass. We're copying DE. So I take my compass. I click and drag. Oh, come on. Don't fall apart on me. I click and drag. I make my little mark so I know where that is. I come down here to D prime. I make my little mark. And I pick a segment that goes from here to here, and that's good. I only gave you 3 of those, just kind of like a, hey, remember what we did last week? And that should be it. If you have any questions, make sure to run those by, but it's kind of like let the calculator do some heavy lifting today, and I should be back tomorrow to answer any questions you have.